What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wallet Reset. It is Mike Malbrough, your host, and today we're going to talk about boosting your productivity with the Pomodoro Technique and if the Pomodoro Technique actually works. All right, so we're going to just dive right into this. Pomodoro Technique is something that I myself have used and I still use from time to time. And it's something that I think is going to benefit most people, but not everybody. And I'll tell you that, who it won't benefit in a few. All right. But first, let me just tell you a little bit about the Pomodoro Technique so that you understand how it works. So the Pomodoro Technique was actually a time management technique that somebody discovered around the late 1980s, right? What was his name? Francesco Cirillo, I think is how you pronounce the name. And basically it's just a method that is used to help you to boost your productivity, whether you're at work, school, for study, stuff like that. Anything you want to get better at and produce more with, the Pomodoro Technique is supposed to help you. So now what I want you to understand though, right, is that the Pomodoro Technique really boils down to this, is that you, when you start to decide that you're going to do the Pomodoro Technique, you say, okay, well, what are my tasks that I would like to do? You would write out a to-do list for like the day, right? Then after you make that list, you decide what you're going to start with, and then you set a timer, right? And there's a timer actually in the description below that fits the Pomodoro method. So if you want to start using this after this video, go ahead and order your Pomodoro timer. But essentially what you do is you set the timer to, let's say, 25 minutes, because that's typically the traditional way that they tell you to start out with it. So you set it for 25 minutes, you work on one thing for 25 minutes. And once the timer goes off, you stop and you take a little break for 5 minutes, all right? After that's done, then you would reset the timer for 25 minutes, right? But, well, before I say that, before you reset the timer, you check off that you have actually done the work, all right? So once you do that, you reset it again, you work again for 25 more minutes, you check off, go forward. And as you go through, right, you're going to get to the fourth rotation of you taking a 25-minute work time, 5-minute break, and then you basically stop right there at your fourth break, and instead of doing a 5-minute break, you do like a 15-minute break, right? So the benefit of the Pomodoro Technique is really, at least from my perspective, there's, you can find benefits all over the internet, but to me, what the benefits are is that they help you to not really have the need to procrastinate. As you guys may know from the 5-hour or the 5-second rule, something that I've talked about before, and if you don't know what that is, then you need to check out my review of the 5-second rule, which is a book by Mel Robbins. It's really good. But essentially what it does is it helps you to not feel the need to procrastinate, because procrastination actually is your way of trying to solve two conflicting problems, right? So one is, I really, really, really have to do this work. The other is, I'm really, really, really bored and I want to just veg out and have a good time, right? In this situation, it might be studying, it might be, there's plenty of different things that it could be. And so Pomodoro Technique really is a way for you to etch out the time for you to take that break, so that okay, well, I'm going to just give 100% of my attention to my work for 25 minutes, and then 5-minute breaks will be after that. And you know that you're getting your breaks, you know that you're getting time away to kind of clear your mind. So that's one of the benefits. The other benefit, and I actually wrote this down, another benefit to me is I'm all about energy, right? I'm all about how you use your energy to do your work. And if you're working, let's say you have an 8-hour job, you have one 1-hour break in between, and if you're working constantly for those 8 hours, realistically speaking, because of the fact that you are losing focus on and off, you're probably multitasking, which means that you're focused really, really hard on one task, stopping, changing focus, and focusing really hard on the next task, stopping, changing focus again. And so your brain is actually doing a lot of different things all at once, which can cause something called decision fatigue. So really, you're never multitasking. Most of the time what you're doing is switching your focus from multiple things really, really quickly. And that can actually take energy away from you. So the Pomodoro effect, or excuse me, the Pomodoro method actually helps you to reduce the amount of energy that you use by just literally saying, okay, this is the one thing I'm going to do. So for me, something I do consistently is just typing, right? I write articles or I'll write copy for like marketing that has to go out. And using the Pomodoro technique is something I do to just like bang, 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 and I go all out, all right? So another thing that's a benefit is that because you are so focused, it improves the way that you work in terms of efficiency. So it helps you to, I mean, just essentially, like I said, if I'm typing, I'm not editing, I'm not doing anything. I'm literally just as fast as I can get it out of my head, as fast as my fingers will carry the message, is as fast as it gets out. Then after your break, you can come back and edit, you know what I mean, refine it after another break, so on and so forth. But essentially your goal is to stick to one specific task. And even what I just said there should highlight the fact that most of our tasks are actually different tasks. So like, for example, I said typing, not editing, right? Most people will type, make a mistake, go back, edit, fix it, keep going. And so you really have to start to learn how to keep your eye on what your task is. And that's the hard part about the Pomodoro method. So I want to tell you guys, A, does it work, right? Does the Pomodoro technique work? Yes, it does, all right? But when I got exposed to the Pomodoro technique, it didn't work for me. And the reason why is because I had a serious problem with procrastination that went past just being productive or unproductive. It went past a lot of just bad habit, right? I think that mine was more based on being addicted to video games, right? I would just play a video game, you know, and at the time I didn't have a job. I was just doing my own blog at the time that I would work on. And what I did is like, okay, I'm going to try the Pomodoro technique for this. And I would take my 5-minute break, right? And then I would like, okay, well, I'm going to make myself something to eat, or I'm going to play a quarter of my video game, because I think the quarters for the game were like 5 minutes each or whatever. And then what would happen is you get behind on one of your breaks, or you get behind on taking the break even, right? And then next thing you know, you're behind the 8 ball, and that is the blizzard of disaster. That's how I call it. It's a blizzard of disaster to the Pomodoro technique. If you seriously struggle with procrastination, that goes past just being like, okay, well, I'll get to it in a second, but one of those things where you consistently will push something that you could do in 2 minutes off for like 2 hours or 5 hours or however, like you extend the period of time, then you are going to actually need to understand a little bit more past procrastination and really get into discipline, right? And that's the thing. Ultimately, I didn't have the discipline when I first learned it. Through time and through a lot of energy and a lot of study, I actually learned to create my own tweak for the Pomodoro technique, which I'll give to you right now. All right, and this will actually help you if you have a struggle with discipline. All right, now this was something I kind of came up with based on something that I talk about quite often, is the Pavlov Dog Experiment. So with that, it really just teaches you how to train anybody, anything, including yourself, right? And what it is you have to make an action, get a result, and then celebrate or have a reward of some kind, right? So in what I do, how I do it at work is I'll come in at 10 o'clock and very quickly for like the first 25 minutes check my email. I'll stop, I'll take a break, and I'll write, right? But I'm writing to myself what my goal is. So it's not that I'm writing out tasks. I really make it one specific thing that I want to get done for the day that will move me into the next day. So all of my days actually push me forward. So if I do work today, tomorrow when I get into work, I've basically set myself up for success already. So that's the first thing I do is get the email out of the way. I check my email once a day, and that's it. Then I move on to my next task that will push me forward, right? And I do that literally from the time that my couple minutes of me writing out my goal for the day. I'll do that from, let's say that's about 11. I'll do that, or 10:30-ish. I do that from about 10:30 to noon. And I don't break. I literally will focus and focus and focus and focus. And I don't worry about if I'm, like for example, when I was bringing up typing, I won't worry about if I'm editing, because ultimately that helps me have a finished product. That helps me move forward for the next day. So I literally would just focus on the task and not focus on the minute details of how to do the Pomodoro technique. At noon, I stop, I take a quick lunch, and then I literally will just read. I'll read for an hour, right? Literally just to give my brain a break from putting out, and I'll read things that I want to learn to get better at my job, learn for my business, or even if it's just an interesting article or video. I'll read or I'll write, or I'll read or I'll watch the video, and that lets me kind of like let go of my energy, my creative juices, and kind of get ideas, get my brain moving again. And then I'll work from about 1 o'clock to about 3 in the afternoon. And most of the time I'm actually done with my work probably by like Wednesday afternoon. So typically speaking, it's something that you can put to work for yourself and be really, really efficient with. Now, how I actually reward myself, right, is basically it just depends on whatever you see as a reward. For me, I literally will say that my lunch is my reward, reading is my reward, because that's what I enjoy, right? So whatever it is that you enjoy has to be your reward. And take your time and really, this is going to be something that you have to develop for yourself over time, but take your time and really get to know what it is what works for you, right? So yeah, I don't make a big list. I just focus on one thing, the one task that I want to get done for the day, and then I'll literally just put all of my energy into that during the whole day, right? Because it's about quality. So anyway, before I end this video, I want to make sure you guys understand one thing. The Pomodoro Technique does work, all right? You can use it to help you to increase your productivity at work, at school. I actually use this on not just a daily scale, but on a weekly scale, to make sure that I'm fitting in all of my priorities and rewarding myself for continuing. Because especially if you're breaking the pattern of having a lack of discipline and procrastinating, rewarding yourself is really the more important thing. Is like when you complete a task and you do it in a timely manner, rewarding yourself is the only thing that will cement that routine. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you want to get a free use Pomodoro timer, there's actually a link to a YouTube channel called The Timer. It's something that I feel like I might as well let you guys know about it, simply because of the fact that it's going to help you to at least get started while you're waiting on your Pomodoro timer to come in the mail, right? It's not going to, obviously, you can't just put the timer on and set your phone down and use that all day at work, because then your phone becomes a distraction. Or, obviously during study, phone becomes a distraction. So I would still suggest you get the Pomodoro timer, the actual timer, but this will help you while you're waiting to at least get started and get used to kind of setting up your own routine. So anyway, this has been Mike Malbrough with Wallet Reset. Hopefully you guys like the new little vibe I got going on with how I'm setting up the camera, because I might try this again. I like the way it feels to kind of have a little quick setup like this. So anyway, it's Mike Malbrough signing off with Wallet Reset, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.